Hello, I'm Jared and you're about to listen to a BBC Trending podcast. But before you do, just a heads up, it's audio, only audio. So stick this on while you're cooking dinner, walking the dog, or in the bath, or just stare at a blank screen for 23 minutes. We're trying something new here and we hope you'll like it. Enjoy.
In America, ever since the election of Donald Trump, there's been a disturbing new trend. Political extremists clashing, online and now on the streets of American cities.
See, I get very violent in fights.
If you're gonna come around me and you're gonna speak hatred, then there's a consequence for your actions.
The rage is raw. You can see it on hundreds of viral videos.
Commie scum, we're gonna burn down your bookstore, you know that,
Give me a
right?
good reason.
Okay, we have you on recorded that you say you're going to burn down our bookstore.
Marxist, judgmental pieces of shit. You can't tell us how to live. This is America.
Burning books.
Please leave now.
This is America. You. This is a public
This
thing.
is Rob Cantrall. He's the Southern Oregon leader of a group called the Proud Boys. They say they're a fraternal organization, a beer-drinking club with the motto, "The West is the best." They enthusiastically participate in right-wing political rallies. They get into brawls. They get arrested.
I am so justified in telling those fools I was going to burn down their bookstore.
Rob and the Proud Boys march in Portland, Oregon, a city in the Pacific Northwest of America. It's better known for hipsters on bikes, microbrewed beers, and chilled-out vibes. One popular TV show dubbed it the place where young people come to retire. But behind that reputation lies a history of racial division, and now regular, recurring street violence. When the Proud Boys come out in Portland, there are others who come out to meet them.
I think it's ridiculous that these group of nativists, white nationalists, and right-wingers keep coming to my town and keep bringing their hate to my town.
Luis Enrique Marquez is an anti-fascist, or Antifa for short. When the Proud Boys and other right-wing and far-right groups march on the streets of his city, he and his fellow activists come out to meet them. Sometimes the confrontations get violent. Sometimes there are arrests. Luis himself has been arrested several times.
You want talk, Heidi? You know where I'm at, you want to talk about Heidi? You come find me. You come find me.
This is Trending, the podcast that digs deep into social media to bring you the kinds of stories you won't hear anywhere else. This week and next, as part of the BBC's Crossing Divide season, we'll spend some time with Rob and Luis. We'll find out what's driving them to fight, online and on the streets. They are far outside the mainstream of American politics, but in a funny way, they also know a lot about each other. They've exchanged insults and threats online. And at our request, they've agreed to meet, not to fight, but to talk. Can they find any common ground?
Proud Boys have been told, make a video renouncing hate in the Proud Boys. Go away.
You want us to just walk off a cliff?
How do you see this ending?
Badly.
In a quiet residential neighborhood in southeast Portland, there's houses with American flags flying, pickup trucks parked outside, basketball hoops standing guard in the driveway. It could be anywhere in America, and it could only be America. One house on this street stands out, though. There are signs on display. "We are all immigrants. We are all family," says one. There's also a hole where a brick has been thrown through the front window.
Hey!
Hello, Luis.
How you doing?
All right, how are you doing?
Nice to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Welcome, come on in.
Thanks. Luis is in his 40s. He's wearing a small cap and a checked shirt buttoned up to the collar. He's not a very tall guy, but he does have what you might call presence. Although theirs is a leaderless movement, it's clear the younger Antifa activists look up to him. He feels very connected to Portland.
I went to high school here. I traveled. I left Portland for a lot of years. I've been back since 2010. And I like to style myself as a writer.
Luis has a multicultural background. He was adopted by the son of a German immigrant. His mother is from El Salvador. Tell me a little bit about how you got involved in politics.
It's honestly with the election of Donald Trump, like everyone else, or most of America, I was angry. And I went and wanted my voice heard that I didn't approve of this president.
How would you characterize your own politics, your own, do you have, like a label for it?
Thank you for asking, right? So many right-wingers assume that I'm a communist, assume this, assume that. Thank you for asking. On a real bad day, I'm probably an anarchist. On a real good day, a social democrat, to be perfectly frank with you, right?
I watch as Louise's comrades construct a satirical banner. Donald Trump is Humpty Dumpty. Sat on a wall, had a great fall. You get the idea. Of course, in Portland, there are a lot of people who don't like Donald Trump. The vast majority of people in this city did not vote for him. But most also don't take to the streets to directly confront the far right.
My personal philosophy is that wherever fascism is, I'm going to be there, and I'm going to confront it. So thankfully I have some comrades that share at least that much of the same philosophy that show up as well. And lots of people that we don't know.
I mean, there is the argument that people make that, just ignore them, they're not huge numbers. If you don't show up, it won't make the news and they'll just go away eventually, they'll get bored.
That's kind of like the marketplace of idea argument, right? That good ideas rise to the top, bad ideas go to the bottom, right? Let them say what they want, they're just a bunch of yahoos. Words are dangerous, right? Hitler didn't gas one single Jew, but his words gassed millions. This idea that you have this right to say whatever you want in the public sphere is ludicrous. So, if you're going to come around me, or hopefully my friends, and you're going to speak hatred, then there's a consequence for your actions. I mean,
you're going to argue back.
It's simple. I'm going to argue back, yes.
Yeah. That arguing often gets ugly, and it sometimes turns violent. Luis and his comrades won't back down. We know that some of them come out to rallies armed. And so do the people on the other side.
Watch out or she'll whip her boobs out again.
Sometimes there are tense scenes like this one from Portland last year. In this video, two masses of protesters are squaring off against each other. One is made up of far-right activists. They're waving flags and wearing clothes with patriotic themes. The other group is Antifa. They're dressed in black, and some of them, but not Luis, have their faces covered. It's chaotic. Both sides are threatening each other, getting right into each other's faces. And at the same time there are street confrontations, there are also online battles, abuse, slurs, threats. Luis shows me a folder on his computer where he saved all of the threatening messages that have come his way. It's huge. He just keeps scrolling and scrolling. Then he shows me messages from one person in particular.
You hide away, you little weasel. Don't let me catch you on the street.
And so wait a second. So then there's like a video chat. He tried to video chat you?
Yeah, and you see, like, I laugh at him. He sends me my picture. I'm like, cool. I know you worship me. Right? Like, I know
he sent you a picture
yeah.
of you and your partner just saying, I've got this picture of you.
And now what if your girlfriend got harmed? Right?
This is serious stuff, man. It says, I love seeing bullies get up, and I will love seeing you suffer.
My dark side wants to see you bleed.
For crying out loud.
This is what we live with every day.
What did you respond to him there?
Oh, what did I respond to him there? I said, I just told him I prefer you suicide. And I tell him, Rob, I don't fear you.
Wow. Coming up, I'm going to meet the man who sent those messages. Rob Cantrall is a member of a group called the Proud Boys. Critics call it a far-right militia. They themselves insist they're just a fraternal organization. One thing is for sure, the Proud Boys are not afraid of violence. In Portland, one of the far-right groups that has regularly held rallies and marches is called Patriot Prayer. They say they're pro-Trump, pro-free speech. When they march, which is fairly often, particularly in good weather, the Proud Boys come out to act as their bodyguards. So we're driving through the mountains of southern Oregon. All around us are trees, forests. It's clear and it's bright outside. It's a bit chilly, but otherwise a beautiful day. We've made the trip about 5 hours south of Portland to meet Rob Cantrall. He is the leader of a group called the Proud Boys. They are one of the groups that regularly protests in Portland and regularly gets involved in violence. Here it's worth me telling you a little bit more about the Proud Boys. They're less than 3 years old, and they were the brainchild of a co-founder of Vice magazine named Gavin McInnes. They have a bizarre set of initiation rituals, which include getting punched while reciting the name of breakfast cereals and getting a tattoo. They say they're nothing more than a hard-drinking, all-male fraternity, but they have a set of principles that combines capitalism, radical libertarianism, and traditional gender roles. They have an interesting place in right-wing American politics today. A former Proud Boy, Jason Kessler, organized the bloody Unite the Right march in Charlottesville, Virginia in 2017. But they have links to more mainstream groups as well. McInnes resigned from the group after 10 of them were arrested at a brawl in New York City outside a Republican club. Recently, their new national leader was seen right behind Donald Trump at one of the president's rallies. They came out in force to support former Trump advisor Roger Stone. The Southern Poverty Law Center, an anti-extremism foundation, calls them a hate group. And in cities across America, Proud Boys have been arrested after getting involved in fights and attacks. Their sworn enemies, anti-fascists.
Take exit 55 on the right toward US 199.
Rob Cantrall is the leader of the Proud Boy chapter in Southern Oregon. When we meet him, he tells us he's living in a tent and sometimes sleeping in his car. He's a big guy, tall, stocky, wide-eyed. He's 46, but he looks older. And he's wearing what the Proud Boys have adopted as their uniform, a black Fred Perry brand polo shirt with yellow trim.
You can kind of get an idea of how many plants we have.
Rob gets a disability check from the government, and in the summer he works on cannabis farms. Weed is legal in Oregon, and cultivating it is mostly tolerated. He agreed to show me around the farm where he worked the previous season. Then he told me a little bit more about his hard luck life.
Father abandoned us. We never had a dad. Single mother. Working 2 jobs.
Where'd you grow up?
California, Southern California. But we were moving around. We lived in like El Monte, and then we Santa Fe Springs, Lakewood.
Now, you got a daughter and a grandson?
My grandson I just got 2 years ago. My daughter's 25.
You talk to her much?
Yeah, we game. She actually got me to buy my Xbox. And so I got Xbox and we game and stuff.
He's bounced around, he says, and has had jobs with computers and also stretches of homelessness. Rob says his introduction to the Proud Boys came when he was hanging out on the fringes of protests in Berkeley, California. Soon he became an enthusiastic member. He found a brotherhood, a group where the members were prepared to fight for each other against the people they think are the enemies of America.
One of the tenets is we're never supposed to hit first.
People have said that the Proud Boys have started violence. There's been videos.
They like violence.
There's been people arrested. They like violence.
Well, you think there's...
You guys like violence.
You think there's something wrong with violence?
I think politically, yeah.
Would you get violent in self-defense? Like Antifa gets violent.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about self-defense. I'm talking about actual incidents.
Like assaulting people? See, that's different. See, I get very violent in fights. I'm like one of the more violent because I don't like to fight for very long.
Yeah.
And I want to get it done. And so you be very violent. That's, you get in a fight, you don't want to, you can be violent, you want to get it done. If you're going to fight someone, you're not there to banter. You're not there to look cool. You're there to suppress a threat.
In Portland, most people are not extremists. In fact, many people we talked to while we were there condemned both the hardcore anti-fascists and the far-right protesters. At the same time, the people who expressed strong opinions to us did tend to come down harder on one side or the other. Officials are worried. The mayor of Portland, Ted Wheeler, is a Democrat, an opponent of the president. He's also clear in his mind about who's to blame for the violence on the streets of his city.
Demonstration and counter-demonstration, that's bedrock as an American principle. There's a long history of demonstration in our community. But this whole idea of people engaging in acts of violence or unsanctioned street brawls in the name of political activism, that's new.
Who are you blaming for this?
Portland is a vibrant, successful, and economically prosperous city. And the fact is we have one of the lowest crime rates of any major American city. So people ask, well, why are these things happening in Portland? In part, it's because we are a progressive community on the whole. So we do have groups like the Patriot Prayer and the Proud Boys. They come to Portland, they come from the outside, and they come here because they know that their politics, that their message is not necessarily welcome here. They're trying to provoke a reaction. Let's just lay all the cards on the table. This kind of activity really started after Donald Trump got elected president. And there's also been a rise in white supremacy across this country. And even here in Oregon, we've had record numbers of hate crimes reported since the election of Donald Trump. Now, I can't lay all of the blame at the doorstep of the White House, but his failure to speak out against this has given, I think, license to organizations that do want to come here and do want to express their hatred.
It sounds like you would hope that the president could speak out against some of these groups, that might have an impact?
I don't hope. I expect. I demand. It is the job of the president to ensure the protection of liberty in the United States of America, and it's under attack.
The mayor tried to pass a law that would give him and the police more powers to stop the demonstrations before they started. But his city council, worried about the effect that it might have on free speech, voted it down. Portland's chief of police says she's in a tough spot.
I get the chief outlaw, whose side are you on?
Right.
What are little black girls going to think of you for protecting white supremacists, you know?
Danielle Outlaw is the first African-American woman to serve as Portland's chief of police. She says that she has to balance the right of people to come out onto the streets, no matter what they're saying, and public safety.
There's frustration on all sides because, again, we want people to be able to do what they're legally allowed to do. We want them to be able to do it in a safe manner, but they also have to do that within the confines of the law. We enforce laws, but we focus on behaviors. And regardless of which side it is, we still have an obligation to protect and to facilitate First Amendment rights to free speech, regardless of what's being said.
Rob is about to follow us on the long drive to Portland. In 2 days, he's agreed to meet Luis and sit down and talk with him on neutral ground at a cannabis club because they both support liberalizing drug laws. They've been on opposite sides in the battles on Portland streets, but he tells me they first talked online.
He contacted me, he was like, sassing me, telling me, you like to beat up on women, you like to assault women, you like to burn books, stuff like that. And then we just had our little, for the last year, we've been having this kind of love-hate relationship or something. I don't know what we're doing.
How's it going to be to sit down with him face to face?
I have no idea. I have no idea what to expect. I'm going to make sure that, I worry that he's going to say something or I'm going to say something that's just going to trigger the other one, and it's going to go to hell,
I mean, is that a suburb? In the anti-fascist house in Portland, I asked Luis what he thought of the people he protests against, Rob and the other Proud Boys and Patriot Prayer activists.
I think some of them are misguided. Some of them I think are just assholes and bad people. And some of them are grifters, con men. They all believe their ideals, but some of them are more committed to these ideals than other ones are.
You've agreed to meet Rob Cantrall. What do you hope might come out of that meeting?
Quite honestly, I'll sit down with Rob because you guys are here in town. Is anything gonna come out of it? Nope. Is he gonna sway me all of a sudden to be like a free speecher? Absolutely not. Am I gonna to sway him to be my ally or comrade? Not even if I could would I want him. I think you guys are gonna get your sensationalistic shot. I'm trepidatious. I think he's going to attack me.
You mean verbally or physically?
I think however he can.
In the next edition of BBC Trending, we'll hear more from the anti-fascists and the Proud Boys.
1, 2, go! I am the Western chauvinist, and I refuse to apologize for creating the modern world.
And the meeting happens. All right, guys, so look, first of all, I'm just going to go over the rules.
Okay.
We don't want any violence. Number one, no violence. Will two people at the extreme and opposite ends of American politics be able to have a civil conversation?
I am so justified in telling those fools I was going to burn down their bookstore.
Proud Boys have been told, burn your Perry, go away.
You want us to just walk off a cliff?
How do you see this ending?
Badly.
That's it for this episode of the BBC Trending podcast. My thanks to the rest of our team, Natalia, Linda Sills, our audio engineer, Graham Putterfoot, and our production coordinators, Shannon McCormack and Mary Rose Muscroft. You can use our social outlets to get in touch. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, or you can email me. Tell me what you thought about this program. My email is michael.wendling, Wendling, @bbc.co.uk. And let me know if I can read your message out, or if you'd just like it to remain between us.